How can you stop or prevent your child from being a brat? Hi, welcome to Little Lessons. This is another special Florida Beach edition, and wow, it is no easy task raising children. I've had the blessing of raising three. They're all grown and married, and they're raising their own children today. And as I watch them, I just think to myself, oh my goodness, that takes so much work and effort. Did I actually do that? Because now as a grandfather, I don't have what it takes any longer. I can love them and leave them, and that's about the extent of it. But when you're raising kids, you have the stamina, at least you hope you do, and they can be a huge challenge. They're cute, they're fun, but they can be demons if you let them, because they come built in with the potential to absolutely ruin your life. And when I see poor moms and dads, for example, in grocery stores, dealing with little children who are just, they're not that big, but they are throwing temper tantrums and they're screaming and they're making their parents' lives just completely miserable. And those poor moms and dads who are so embarrassed they even hate to go out in public with their kids because their kids are clearly the ones who are in charge. So how can you prevent that from happening to you? If it is happening to you, how can you put an end to it? Well, I'm happy to tell you that I've got the answer that you're looking for. Scripture says that we should train up our children in the way that they should go. And when they're old, they will not depart from it. That's somewhere in the book of Proverbs. Doesn't make any difference where it is. It's just in there. And the key word in that verse is the word train. Train. It reminds me of training a dog, for example, or training any animal to do what you want that animal to do. And how do you do that? You do that by positive and by negative reinforcements. And of course, the positive ones are much more fun than the negative ones. And whether parents realize it or not, they're already doing that, but they're probably having it work against them. They're doing it the wrong way if their kids are brats or if their kids are controlling their lives and making their lives miserable. Why do I say that? Because here's a prime example. A little child who throws a temper tantrum and screams, and mom says, stop that. You're not going to get what you want. And the child just screams louder and throws more of a tantrum. And then, depending on how much patience mom has, she finally gives in. And unfortunately, the more patience she has, the worse this is going to work against her. Because if she lets that kid scream for 3 minutes and throw a temper tantrum for 3 minutes, guess what? If you give in after 3 minutes, you just taught your child, if you want something, all you have to do is scream for 3 minutes. Oh my goodness. And so kids learn that. I want what I want. That's what they're thinking. Whatever it takes to get it, I'm going to get it. And whatever works in the past, you've reinforced my negative behavior by giving me what I want when I demonstrate this negative behavior, then I'm going to repeat that. And you can also, of course, work this here's what you should do before I go on. When your child throws a temper tantrum, just completely ignore the child. And if you can walk out of the room safely, and as you do, say, I can't see you and I can't hear you when you do that, and walk out and determine, no matter what that kid does, I'm not going to reinforce that negative behavior. It's really a funny thing when kids think that they can manipulate parents by holding their breath. I love that one. Because you have biology on your side, and hopefully you have a bigger brain than that child, and you would never be fooled by your child holding their breath as if they're going to hold their breath until they faint and die. Well, their body won't let them do that, so just look at them and smile. Okay, hold your breath. You're not going to get what you want, because that's not how this family operates. So ignoring that negative behavior squelches it. Kids learn pretty fast that, well, if it doesn't get the desired results, then no sense wasting my time doing it. And then, of course, you can use the very positive incentives. When they train the dolphins at SeaWorld, you notice every time that they do a flip, they come up to the surface and they give them a little bit of food. And I'm not advocating that you should withhold food from your kids or necessarily reward them with food, because that can create kind of a negative cycle in their life when they're always associating good behavior with food. But still, positive reinforcements like praise. Everybody likes to be complimented and encouraged and praised. You can't ever get really enough of that. And so when your kids do right, make sure you tell them how proud you are of them and give them those hugs and kisses and reward them in any way that you can. And that's reinforcing positive behavior. Ignore the negative and reinforce the positive. One thing you have to be careful of is if you've got rewards, you've got a rewards program going. Like if you keep your room clean, we're going to keep track of that. And if you do it 7 days in a row, then there's some positive reward that you're promising. You can't set the reward too far out into the future, because kids aren't oriented way toward the future. They're pretty much living in the here and now. So if you say, well, if you're good all through August, when it comes to Christmas time, we're going to get you that new whatever. Kids can't operate under that kind of incentive program as maybe adults can, thinking in a longer term reward program. Some people object to the whole rewards thing, because that's bribery. But no, it's not bribery. Bribery really is an enticement by giving an incentive to do evil. So this is really imitating the Lord. He is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. And so, nothing wrong with imitating him on that. I'm so glad that the Lord gives us positive incentives to do what he wants us to do. And of course, he also disciplines those whom he loves, and that's a whole nother side of it. The only time you want to discipline your child, that is punish your child, is for defiance, not for childish, irresponsibility and so forth. But when your child crosses the line that they clearly understand that they shouldn't have crossed, testing to see if you will keep your word and as you promised to punish them, you better follow through. That's a real key. Be consistent. Be consistent. Okay, well, we're out of time. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope to see you next time on Little Lessons.